about example? I asked you people to do the example execution, right? Using action mode buffer. Are you remember? Orange HRM.
Yes, yes.
Have you done that?
Yes, Anusha, yes.
Yes,
I have
Anusha.
done.
Okay. So team, if you get any time, don't waste your time. Try to do practical sessions. This will help you more in interviews point of view. Okay. Please do it all the practical sessions from your side. So my last point, just give me a second. We are discussing different ways of buffer creations, right? So we completed T-box set buffer, T-box partial buffer, and T-box name to buffer, and action mode buffer. Today we are going to cover dynamic buffer. So the dynamic buffer we used in real time most frequently. Dynamic buffer we used in real time frequently. So what are the application category irrespective of application? If we get a chance to work with web or desktop or SAP or Salesforce, what are the category? Definitely you are going to work with the dynamic buffer concept. So what is dynamic buffer concept and what is the importance of that? We'll discuss those points here. Okay. So just give me a second. This page is loading for me. So nowadays, Tosca is having very huge requirement team. Even our old students also placed in a number of companies. I think today morning itself, I got one message from my student. Already he got opportunity 3 months, 4 months before itself only. Again, he's taking jump and again he got one more opportunity. So don't waste your time. If you are getting any feasible time for you, I know you people are working, so it's very difficult for you. But if you are looking for any change in your workplace, so please do practice practically and theoretically. Okay. So that will help you more team to get the opportunity within short span of time. Okay. And even I'll upload the interview question document here. I already did that. Don't by heart these interview question answers. So if you by heart these interview question answers, that will be impact to your career only. So try to learn the concept. What is the purpose of each module and what are the things? Learn the functionality and explain that functionality in your own words. I just added that interview question as a reference, but don't by heart all the interview questions. Just go with natural way of explanation. Okay. What is the action mode? Action mode is the buffer to buffer the value. To buffer the value in our application level. If you want to buffer anything in your application point of view, simply we go with the action mode buffer tip. Yesterday, we used this action mode buffer to buffer the admin. So how many of you completed registration and login functionality? Tell me tip. In assignment document, one option is there, right? Registration and login functionality. Are you remember?
Yes, Anusha, Amazon registration.
Not Amazon. So I think demo web shop, the second test case.
Yeah, this one we can do.
So the second
Yes,
test
yes,
case,
that's
the registration and login functionality tip. Okay. See, observe this particular functionality carefully. at the time of registration, what are the email ID password we are entering? We have to pass the same email ID password to the login page. I think some people have deleted the script. Click on login button. Enter login details and that's it. Okay. We have to pass the same things to here. So Tim, here also we use the buffer activities, buffers. Okay. So at the time of registration page itself, use action mode buffer to buffer the email ID and password and pass that email ID password to the login page. Okay. So at the time of registration, every time you are hard coding the email ID manually, right?
Yes.
If one registration is completed, then you are not able to execute same script one more time because already that email ID exists in that particular website databases. Okay. So use action mode buffer to call the registration email ID password to the login page. Okay. Dynamic buffer, we call it as a X buffer tip. This is the another terminology. And here, what is the functionality of this dynamic buffer? Buffer the value which is changing dynamically in our application. So in your application team, one string is there. Within the string, one value is changing always dynamically. Okay. Now you are having a requirement to buffer that changed value. Let me take an example. So when you're working in a SAP, so standard order is here. So Tim, which one is change always dynamically within the string?
It's order number 1, 2, 3,
Order
4.
number.
Order number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have a requirement. I just want to buffer only 1, 2, 3, 4. Let us assume this entire thing is a one control. So if I scan this control, we are able to scan this entire control, right? Now, out of this entire string, I want 1, 2, 3, 4 only. I don't want this entire thing. I want only 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I use this one? Can I achieve this one using T-box set buffer? Can we achieve this one using T-box set buffer? What is the T-box set buffer, team?
You can set the values using the buffer.
T-box set buffer is the
Direct creation.
T-box set buffer is the standard module, right? So using standard module, is it possible to buffer our application information? No. We are just creating the variable name, variable values manually. Now, can I go with T-box name to buffer?
No.
Yes.
No, sir.
No. Can I go with partial buffer?
Yes.
Yes.
Partial buffer, yes. But see here, what is the length of this particular string? Even spaces also included here. Hmm? So when we are working with the partial buffer, we have to calculate the length of this particular string, right?
28.
Yes.
Yes. So for example, I calculated up to here. So I get to know this indexing of this one digit is around something 15 like this. Okay. So 15 to 16, 17, 18, 19, 19. But today's the order number is generated only the 5 characters. Maybe the next month, so it's going to increase either 6 digits or 10 digit, right?
Yes, Anusha.
We cannot say the value length is always this one because this is the order ID. If the more than 500 orders they received, even the order ID also increased based on that only, right? Today it is a 5 digit. Maybe if it is extended to either 10 digit or 11 digit or 12 digits, then what about our partial buffer point of view? Is this going to work here?
No, not.
No. Then how to buffer these things? We go with the X buffer. X buffer or dynamic buffer. Both are same thing, X buffer or dynamic buffer. This dynamic buffer is having a syntax open flower brackets XB of buffer name. This is the syntax of dynamic buffer and the action mode of this dynamic buffer is verify. These two things. Action mode of dynamic buffer is verify. Syntax is XB of buffer name. For example, let me take this example on. This area, the value is changing dynamically, right? So what are the area the value is changing? We'll just keep the dynamic buffer syntax here, XB of order space. That's it. And action mode is, what is the action mode of dynamic buffer T?
Verify.
Verify. This is one of the very important interview question. What is the action mode of dynamic buffer or what is the action mode of X buffer? What is action mode? Verify. Okay, verify is the action mode. So if I use this particular syntax team directly it captures. So what is the order? Order is the buffer name. The meaning of that, at the time of execution in this particular area, I'm creating one variable and what are the values generated here? We are just assigning that value to this particular variable. If I run the script runtime, it create one variable name as a order entered out of the string. So this syntax area level, which value is generated, that value is assigned to this variable type. Got it? So runtime, what is happening? Order is generated. Order is a variable. This variable is holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Getting? Let me show you practically instead of theoretical representation, but I just want to make the flow information. So this is clear for everyone, right? Hmm?
Yeah, Anusha.
Okay. Let me log into the application now. So I'll just place the couple of orders here. So once if we are placing any orders, definitely we'll get one order ID, right? The invoice ID or order ID, something. So click
Yes,
on
sir.
shopping cart. I'm just going down. I agree. Checkout. Total amount is 8,378. So this is the checkout address. Continue. And in-store pickup address. Continue. And this is the shipping method. Continue. So shipping payment method, you can go back. And here the payment method is next day air. Continue. So payment method default here it is taking as a card team. Okay. Just enter. So I don't want to enter real data. Can you please tell me any some card details here? How many digits of card number?
16 digits, Anusha.
16 digits, right? Something Anusha, I'm just renaming as a Anusha. So card code is 123. Let me write like this. Continue. Wrong card number. Original is thermal.
Anusha, Anusha, I think we can go with the demo or workshop, right? There
Yeah,
also we
it
have
is
this.
fine. We'll go with the demo. Demo is having a multiple features team, but this application is having only the card details. Let's try this one. Add to cart. I'm just placing only one order. Click on I agree, check out. So log into this one. So coming to here, I agree, check out. Then go to the continue, go to continue and go to continue. So here I'm just check our money order, continue and click on continue. So last and finally, I'm confirming the order. So what is the order ID here, team?
1276 1726.
I want to buffer this order ID. Is this possible? Let me try one thing. I'll do the scanning of this particular module. Select this one. Right click on this one. Scan application. Sorry, team. So network issue. Let me share my screen again. My screen is working a bit slow today. Everyone able to see my screen? Could you please confirm me?
Okay, Tanush.
No.
Now?
Yes.
Yeah, now we can see.
Okay. Select that particular window, click on scan. The page is loading for me. So rearrange this one to right. Select on screen. Select this order number. So wait for some time because seems like this order number is not a unique property, team. Go to the properties pane and select here. What is the inner text? I just added inner text to make it as unique. But after adding inner text, seems like the selected control is unique. But are you able to understand what is the meaning of LI? LI is the tag name, right? Just do the renaming of this tag name to order number. Save this module. Finish this page. So go back to Tosca. And then
Anusha, one doubt here.
mm,
Scanning the module, the attribute parameter we have saved as inner text order number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
it's not a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think something is 1, 7, 2, 6, 3.
Yeah, something. Yeah. So that inner text is not same every time. It will change. So we will not be able to identify it with inner text. Right?
We can do. Okay. So it's a very good question. See, team, so as she said, this is not a static. It is always changing dynamically. Do one thing, remove this order number, keep it asterisk symbol. That's it. Okay. So go to the properties pane and go to inner text and remove the numbering and keep it as asterisk symbol. Now drag and drop this module to your test case. Can I go with the action mode buffer team? Hmm? So I'm just taking as an action mode buffer here. Let's see what is happening in action mode buffer, okay? Yeah. So team, I'm getting an error message. Okay, we'll see what is the error message. So what is the error message? What is the solution for this particular one?
We have to buffer the
To
inner.
select the inner text
Inner text.
visible in
Exactly. Very good. So select here inner text equal to buffer name because there is no specific default property to this one. That is the reason we are getting an error message. Okay. Yeah. So see here, team, the script is executed successfully and even the value is set to the value equal to here. Order number 1726308. Are you able to see some spaces is added before and after order number?
Yes.
Yes. So now the question is how to remove spaces of the particular variable value. So we use the trim function team. So trim is the function to remove the spaces. So to remove the spaces, we use trim function. So team, this trim function is doing one thing, it remove the spaces left and right. So both the sides directly it remove the what are the empty spaces this particular variable is holding. Okay. For example, just now I created one variable name as a order number, right? What are the variable we created? So go to that variable and apply the string function trim trim of buffer. How to call the buffer name stream? What is the buffer syntax?
B.
Flower bracket,
Yeah, buffer.
flower bracket, open
Capital
flower
B
bracket
of
B.
Buffer.
order number. This is the way to remove the spaces of specific value. Okay. Now team, so observe this particular test case. Can I implement the trim function here itself? Is this possible? Can I apply the trim function here itself? Is this possible?
It's a partial buffer we have to use.
So team, after buffering the data, we get to know the buffer value is having some spaces. That is the reason, see here. Starting and left and right side spaces you are able to see. So how to remove these values? So already the variable is available in the buffer section. I want to remove the spaces for this particular variable. How to do that? Can I go with the T box set buffer? Yes, right? Right click equal to search and add test step. T box set buffer. So instead of dragging and dropping, if you want to add your module attributes to directly your test case, this is the shortcut key tip. Search and right click. Shortcut key is control T. What is the buffer name which we created here? Order number. Now, same buffer, I'm applying a trim function. TRIM, trim of. This is the syntax. Okay. So which value we have to pass that variable as well, right? Capital B of buffer name. What is the buffer name? Order number. Clear tip? If you want to remove a spaces of the stored value, some value is having any spaces, how to remove that? We always use the trim function here. Okay. If you run this particular script, before running the script, you can see the left side and right side, you're able to see spaces. Now I'm running the script. So are you able to see any spaces in this particular value level now?
No.
There is no spaces. To remove the spaces, we always use this syntax, that is a trim function. Okay. Now we implemented trim function. Then how to buffer this particular order number team? I just implemented action mode buffer team. I'm just explaining to you all possible ways. Okay. So one of the possible way I'm telling to you, that is a buffer action mode. So if I'm taking buffer action mode, what is happening? It's adding some spaces in the value. To remove that spaces, I'm just taking one T box set buffer and trim function. I'm using trim function to remove the spaces. Then what is the next step to capture that particular value?
Go with
Only the
partial
order
buffer.
number. Can I go with the partial buffer?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So again, right click on here, search and add test step. Use here T box partial buffer. So partial buffer is added. So I'm just taking same buffer instead of creating new buffer, and call the same buffer value, order number. So which one will take, start, end, or last?
Last.
Hmm?
Last.
Last, how many digits?
7.
7 digits. So I just created new variable. The variable name is order. Now you can see partial buffer, right click on here, run in Scratchbook. Yes. So are you able to see order variable is created? This variable is holding only one value, that is 1726380.
Yes.
So team, if you people are working with the action mode buffer, this is the approach you have to do. You have to write around 3 test steps to achieve the logic. Getting? So I'll add all these test steps into this folder only. Hope it's clear. Next, X buffer. I'll explain only one thing in this particular dynamic buffer team. Within the single test steps will achieve the logic. Copy this one and paste here. Instead of dragging and dropping, I'm just taking existing copy team. So same way, I'm just, what is the action mode of dynamic buffer?
Verify.
Verify.
Verify. So first select the action mode as verify and then go to here. So order number colon. So this particular area, right, the order ID is changing dynamically. Use the dynamic buffer syntax XB of demo underscore order ID. So demo underscore order ID is the buffer name. Clear? Getting team? Demo
Yes.
underscore order ID is the buffer name. If you are seeing this kind of syntax within this value column level, seems like always the action mode is verified. Always team. If you by mistakenly, if you select any other action mode team, it won't do the operation directly, it throws an error message to us. So keep in
Anusha,
mind.
have you taken the buffer name randomly, or did we create it?
Randomly, user defined only. You can give any buffer name here.
Okay.
So I just mentioned demo is the application, right? Application underscore order ID.
Okay.
You can give any naming conversion. It is a user defined only. No need to follow same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Because it is user defined variable creation. Okay, now I'm running the script. See here, team executed successfully. And in a buffer section, demo order ID is created and it captured the only order ID. Are you able to see? Team clear, huh?
Yeah, Anusha.
Everyone. Mm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yes.
So same thing. You can observe. Using action mode, we almost added 3 test steps, correct? At the time of achieving same logic using action mode buffer, I just mentioned 3 test steps here. The first test step itself, here I'm just doing buffer activity with the help of action mode buffer. So the next step, I'm just removing the spaces. Third step, I added partial buffer to capture the order ID. Coming to the dynamic buffer, only one test step, the script is executed, correct? So which one is the better now? Action mode buffer or dynamic?
Dynamic.
Dynamic buffer. Clear? So let me go with orange HRM only. Yeah. Any questions, Tim, before going to that?
One question. So in the dynamic mode, how do we identify like I mean, how it is like we are just
Your voice is very low for me, Naresh. Could you please speak louder?
yeah. Now is it better, Anush?
It's a bit better. Yeah, tell
Okay.
me.
My question is like so in the dynamic like how did we I mean it is capturing only the order ID because in the console we see like order colon the order number.
Consolidated. I'm so sorry, I'm not able to hear it properly. In between, your voice is breaking for me.
No, Anush. What my question is like so it is capturing like only order number, right? But we have
We are unable to hear you. Can you please message the same?
You can just ping me in a chat, Naresh, if possible.
yeah, Anush, is it better now?
Yeah, bit better.
Yeah. I mean, my question is like, so in the dynamic execution, so we capture like only the order number recognition. So only that, only one statement is enough to capture the order ID?
Yes.
Okay.
Only one step is enough to capture the order ID.
Okay. So this will applicable for any kind of the scenario recognition, like
Exactly.
capture.
Any kind of scenario.
Okay. Thanks.
If the order number changes also, it won't reflect in the dynamic, right, Anusha?
It directly reflects here because
Okay.
at the time of scanning, we just make this one as a dynamic, right? Order number star.
Okay.
If any value is changed dynamically, directly it capture that value without restriction.
Anusha, even if it is a string value also, it will capture, right? Irrespective of any.
Even it is string values also it capture.
Okay.
But
Thanks.
always we have to make sure if you are calling any dynamic buffer, always the action mode is verified.
Okay. Okay.
Syntax is XBF buffer name and action mode is verified.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it, Anush. Thank you.
So same thing will achieve for Orange HRM application also. For Orange HRM application, yesterday we applied some partial buffer activity, action mode and partial buffer combination, right? Can I go with directly X buffer?
Yes, Anusha.
Yes.
Okay.
So instead of adding these many partial buffers, I'm deleting all these partial buffer activities. So within the single test step, I'll achieve the logic. I'll show you how it looks like. So see here, this is a user and user. So what is the user here, team? Variable name. Because the
User.
action mode is,
Yes.
User.
Variable
what is the action mode?
buffer.
Buffer. If action mode is buffer, always make sure the value, what are the values you've reflected here, that is a buffer name, variable name. Okay. Now I'm changing this action mode to verify. Okay. So this is the value. Actual string name is this one. Just copy this one and paste here. So which one is changing here? Today is our username is admin. If tomorrow, if this one is changed, we are not sure, right?
Yes.
So what I'm doing, I'm just giving here a dynamic buffer xb of username. So what is the username I entered this log? U underscore name. I'll keep like this. What is U underscore name, team?
It is admin in this.
That is a variable name.
Buff. Yeah.
U underscore name is nothing but that is a buffer name. Just recap the syntax of X buffer. So XB of buffer name, correct? So now here I'm entering P underscore PWD. So this is user defined buffer names or variable names only, team. You can give any naming convention, that is not a problem. What are the user IDs I captured here? Directly I'm calling those user IDs here with the help of send keys. Send keys of open flower brackets capital B of U underscore name. So this is not a case sensitive team, but if even if you're giving upper cases, lower cases, it work. I have to close this send keys. Yes. Now I'll change this data type to string. Then everyone able to see the syntax. Open flower brackets, send keys of. This is the syntax. Let me add here buffer, capital B of P underscore PWD. Then do click operational login. Instead of adding those many number of test steps, I achieve this logic within 2 test steps only, right?
Yes, Anish.
So same logic in same scenario I explained in a different use cases. So if you do practice, then only you get to know what is happening here. So Orange HRM application is already opened. I'm closing that. Open URL is executed, team. One second. What is happening? Verification was success and here also success. But team, the Tosca execution flow is very speed, right? So I cannot say Tosca is going to complete this test case. So if Tosca is acting, if it is working as a bit speed, so you can keep here the wait on action mode. So I think already I discussed this one, correct? What is wait on team? Team, what is wait?
Dynamic wait. Dynamic.
So what is the default time limit for wait on?
It will wait until this username is available, the text.
Okay, what is the default time the available in
10,000 milliseconds.
10,000 milliseconds.
10 or 20? I remember it is a 20,000.
20. Yes, it's 20.
So the default time limit is 10,000, but when you are using action mode wait on, what is the time limit for that? 20,000 milliseconds. So what happens here? Directly it buffer the value. I'm just telling to Tosca, wait until this username is reflected. Okay. So once that username is available, directly it enter the data. Again, it wait for the password. So if this is exists, directly it enter the password and then it do click operational login hyperlink. Okay. So let me close this window. Right click, run in Scratchbook. URL is executed. The verification is also completed. So username and password is entered successfully. Done. Clear? Within the single test steps, we achieve the logic. So everyone able to understand this code, this particular logic, right? Are you facing any difficulties to understand this one? Do let me know it.
Got it, Tanisha.
Got it, right? So it depends upon situation. Okay. If you get a test case to automate or buffering of something, you have to check all possible ways. Can we achieve this one using T-box set buffer? No. Can we go with partial buffer? If any possibility is there, you can go with partial buffer. Otherwise, you can simply use the dynamic buffer. Dynamic buffer, another name is X buffer. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, my next question is here. Listen everyone carefully. What is the syntax of partial buffer? I'll explain in Telugu as well. Just give me 1 minute, okay? Satish. So, team, what is the syntax of partial buffer? Just recap all the things and tell me the answer. Last 2 to 3 days onwards, we are discussing the buffer concept, right? What is the syntax of partial
Open
buffer?
flower brackets and B and buffer name and close flower bracket.
Okay. Any other answers, Steve?
I think we can use for this dynamic buffer as we explained. So that will be also applicable for partial buffer.
In partial buffer, we'll give last and first, and that will give, right, the alphabetic number, numeric numbers from where it should start.
So the first points, do we have any syntax for partial buffer?
No, I don't think so.
No, I
That is
think.
what I'm asking.
In the last and start and end, we will give
Exactly.
numbers, but we won't give any specific, because partial buffer,
What
if
is
you
the
select on the standard mode, it will give the 3 start, last, end. So there only we are working
Buffer
on.
name too.
So the first point is here, the syntax of partial buffer. Simply you can say there is no syntax for partial buffer. Why there is no syntax? Because it is a standard module. T-box partial buffer is the standard module, right? Then explain the purpose of that module. What is the purpose of this module? We update the buffer value with the help of start and end and
Last.
last. That's it. There is no syntax for partial buffer tick. Okay, now this is what the expectation. Now, so what is the difference between buffer and X buffer?
Action and syntax.
Yes, you can give the explanation, one by one explanation, Tim. So, okay, let us go with what is the syntax of buffer and X buffer, Tim. What is the syntax of buffer?
B of buffer name.
Open flower brackets, capital B of buffer
Buffer.
name. What about X buffer syntax?
XB buffer.
Buffer.
Open flower brackets, XB of buffer name. And what is the action mode of X buffer?
Very
Verify.
Verify.
The action mode of X buffer is a Verify. What
Verify.
is the
Buffer is buffer.
action mode of buffer?
Buffer.
Buffer only.
Buff.
Okay. So sometimes you may get this kind of error message like a scenario based. Okay. Let us assume in my application, registration code is generated and it is available only 1 minute. Okay. So my requirement is what are the code is generated. I want to take that code for next test step execution. So is this possible in Tosca team? How we are going to automate this one? How to do automation in Tosca? Seems like this is a
Maybe by
scenario.
using X buffer,
Hmm.
dynamic buffer.
Everyone able to understand the question? First point.
Yes, sir.
Can I explain one more time this question? Okay. So team, the interviewer is asking one question to you. So they're automating one application. In that application one registration code is generated. So, and it is available only 1 minute. Okay. What are the registration code is generated in their application? So they want to take that particular code for the next step executions. So how to do the automation in Tosca? How to capture that registration code in Tosca? Tell me, team, how to do that?
Write on, verify, X buffer.
That is only available 1 minute. After 1 minute, it automatically disappear the screen. We are not able to see that registration code. That is what the limit. Getting?
Yes.
That is the application time. So within that application that we are able to see that registration code within 1 minute only. So within that 1 minute, we have to capture that code and we store into one location. Then we have to pass that captured registration code to the next test steps. సో తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఏంటి అంటే ఒక అప్లికేషన్లో రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ అనే ఒక కోడ్ జనరేట్ అవుతుందంట. ఆ కోడ్ ఓన్లీ 1 మినిటే కనిపిస్తుంది. తర్వాత కనిపించదు. 1 మినిట్ లోపే ఆ కోడ్‌ని మనం తీసుకొని నెక్స్ట్ టెస్ట్ కేస్ ఆటోమేట్ చేయడానికి, టెస్ట్ స్టెప్స్ ఆటోమేట్ చేయడానికి యూజ్ చేసుకోవాలి. సో మన టోస్కాలో ఎలా చేస్తాము అని అడుగుతున్నారు.
Buffer, can we store that in buffer?
సో విచ్ బఫర్? I
X
already
buffer.
explained.
X buffer, dynamic buffer.
So
Dynamic buffer.
can you please explain me in the process what is the first step? What is the first activity?
First, identify the unique properties by using the
First,
unique
we
properties.
have to scan the
Application
registration code. Correct? After scanning that code,
And make the property as unique.
use the X buffer to capture the value.
Value.
Correct?
Yes.
So what are the captured the value? It's stored into the buffer, right?
Yes.
So reuse the
Buffer.
buffer value. How to reuse this buffer value? With the help of capital B of buffer name.
Buffer name. Yes.
Okay. So at the time of capturing using X buffer, what is the syntax we are going to use here? XB of buffer name. You have to explain these things theoretically, not practically. Getting my point? Seems like it is a scenario based interview question, correct?
Yes.
It is not a straightforward interview question. Even interviews level also, you always face these kind of scenario based interview questions only. That is the reason I'm telling you people to do practice more. Okay. So,
Anusha,
let's
quick question here. So in the scenario mentioned, like the value will be available only in 1 minute and then it will disappear, right? So within 1 minute, can we scan the module and get the field over there controls?
Yes, we have to.
Not Or is it possible by taking a screenshot, and from screenshot can we capture the value? Is there any such scenario?
There is no screenshot. A screenshot is not possible, Samira, because your registration code is always changing, right?
Mm.
If I take screenshot, what are the values available in that screenshot? It capture only that value, correct? Tosca is always try to find only that's generated value, correct?
Yes.
But here, what is happening? The code is always changing. They just to create a kind of confusion, they are telling only that is available 1 minute. Even that is available for 1 minute. We will scan that module, right? It is not a fraction of seconds, right? At least it is available almost 1 minute, correct?
Mm.
Within a 1 minute, we can scan that module. We do the scanning and we'll save the module. And the next execution level, what are the registration code is generated, we'll keep that registration code. We'll buffer that using dynamic buffers. Hope it's clear for you.
But Anusha, I have a doubt. After the scanning, we had to run the buffer to capture the value, right? So will it be within below 1 minute?
See, the thing is, we are giving the logic. We are not giving entire execution flow. Okay. So to do the scanning, first point, to do the scanning, first we'll run the manual execution, correct? First, I'll go with the manual execution. Once that pop-up is reflected, I'll scan the module. Okay. Coming to the execution flow. So coming to execution flow, I'll mention everything, right? Open URL. Click on generate a registration code, then the code is generated, capture that code, then click on next, enter the captured code. So we have some scenario wise, right? When you are running entire test case together, at that time it capture the code.
Okay.
Ready? So based on the what are the scenario they are asking, they are not asking end-to-end flow. They're just given only one logic to us. They are asking me how to automate this. Yes, I'll tell like I'll scan the module using unique property. I'll make it as unique. And I'll write the logic as a X buffer with action mode as a verify. What is the X buffer action mode? Verify with the syntax as XB of buffer name. We'll capture that registration code here and we'll pass that registration code to the next test steps with the help of buffer syntax, capital B of buffer name. You have to give the main logic. That's it. Getting?
Yes, Anusha.
Any other questions?
Yes, Anusha. So we have this buffer value and X buffer, right? The above question which we are discussing. So X buffer, we are calling it as a dynamic buffer values, and the buffer we can call it as a static, right?
Yeah, we just hard code these values using tbox set buffer or partial buffer or tbox name to buffer or action mode buffer.
So we can say that as static, and this is the dynamic buffer.
This is normal static buffer. This is the dynamic buffer. In this buffer level, we are capturing value from the application. Here we are hard coding the value in a buffer section level. But what is the meaning of this syntax? We are recalling. To recall the buffer, we use this syntax. That's it.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So please do the practice of these activities, team. What are the points I discussed today? Tomorrow I'll explain the conditions part. Okay.
Anusha,
Sure.
Control Alt Delete, you said you will show today.
You can try Ramadevi. I'll show you Saturday. Okay. I don't have time today, team. So what are the questions you people are having? Just make a note. Saturday we have a doubt session. We'll discuss all the things together. Okay. Team clear? Yeah. Please do the practice of these buffer activities. We'll connect tomorrow same time. Team, one more point. I'll review all these assignments. What are the assignments? What are the scenarios I explained to you in practical in my laptop? I'll check all these things in your laptop in a Saturday session. Please be ready with all these scenarios. Okay. Thank you, team. Thanks for your time all. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Anushka.
Yeah, bye. Thanks for.
Thank you all. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Bye. Team.